So it looks like a key player on the Clippers is available. And I want to say this, but I want to preface this specifically. Yeah, a key player on the Clippers is available for a trade, and it's not Kawhi Leonard and it's not PG. Now, I will have to say this name that came up surprised me specifically because I think he makes up a huge part of their depth and he makes up a huge part of their scoring just in case, especially if Kawhi and or PG is hurt for some odd reason where they can't go. So the name I'm talking about, of course, is none other than Norman Powell. Now, me personally, if I'm the Clippers, if you're going to make somebody like this available to be traded, you better have a good outcome or you better have a good get back, basically, because Norman Powell, here again, this is a championship caliber player. And on top of that, he won a championship not too long ago, just a few years ago with Kawhi Leonard. And he's shown that he can be a guy that comes off the bench and give you all the spark that you need. And he's shown that he can be a guy to come off the bench that can drop 25 points easily whenever he wants to when he's healthy. Now, I understand health might be an issue with Norman Powell if some of you think that. But, I mean, what are we talking about? It's health issues with Kawhi and PG. So it doesn't matter. Like he's in an ideal situation if you want to be funny about it or actually look at it from that perspective. But either way, he's still a valuable piece. And to me, when you get rid of valuable pieces like that, you better make sure, like I said, the get back is very, very good, very, very fruitful and very, very worth it. Because if it's not worth it, you're going to find yourself in a situation where, damn, like, why did we give up a piece like him where we could have utilized him in this moment in the playoffs when he could have helped us at the most? Because even whether Kawhi and or PG stays healthy, they still need a guy, a guy that comes off the bench or a third guy that can come in there and put up, decent numbers so all the onus wouldn't be on them all the time. Because when you have that, all that onus on two players, a lot of time it wears them down. It brings fatigue, and it also the outcome could turn into injuries. And when it turns into injuries, now you have a problem because you don't find yourself winning championships. You don't find yourself getting to where you think you can if you stayed healthy, and it's always a what if situation. Basically, what the Clippers are right now. So my point is, if they're going to trade Norman Powell, they're going to have to get something really substantial back. And I'm talking about somebody that's almost like a candidate, six man of the year type candidate type guy is what they're going to have to get back in return. And I know it's not many of them out there, but that's just what the Clippers are going to have to get back in return, because unless you're going to pull off some type of Houdini type move and get another valuable player or a little bit more formidable than a Norman Powell, then of course that's always good if you get a player better in a trade than what you had. But the likelihood of that happening is very slim. So with it being very slim, if I were the Clippers, I'd be walking on very thin ice trying to trade somebody like him just because he has trade value and just because he can actually, do a lot of good things off the bench. And then on top of that, sometimes you got to look at situations for all it's worth. You don't want to trade Norman Powell to a team where he makes them better, and now you're less better by having somebody by taking 20 points or 19 points a game off your bench. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's very feasible for the Clippers to start thinking about if they haven't thought about it already, and which I'm surprised that they haven't put it into action, because based upon these reports, I mean, if you're thinking about trading a Norman Powell, then you're taking a lot away from your depth, because Norman Powell, like I said, he can average 17 to 19 points a game off the bench or more if you give him the minutes to do so. So taking away 20 plus points off your bench, you better know what the hell you're doing, especially if you're in the route of still trying to win a championship. And this is the reason why I said the Clippers can't make dumb decisions, especially this time frame, because you got two superstars that kind of stay injured in and out. So if you make any decision that depletes any of the bench, what are you going to do to the team? Ultimately, you're going to put more onus on the superstars to score, to be accountable in regards to always being at the forefront. And I understand that's what a star players are supposed to do, but they get tired too, but they get worn down too, and they get injured as well as role players. So if you could take more pressure off them and allow them to, build chemistry throughout the year, play a lot of games, but also relax during games, because when we people forget. When you look at championship teams, real championship teams, it's a difference with a championship team and a regular team. If you think about the Warriors back a few years ago, I say 4 or 5 years ago, when they were really at their peak, A lot of times when they beat teams, a lot of times when they won, you would see the Splash Brothers sitting down along with Draymond Green, sitting down in the fourth quarter with like 5 to 8 minutes to go in the game because they're up by 20 plus points and they're resting at the end of the fourth quarter of the game, waiting to go into the next one because everything is so well put together. Their team is so well rounded and the depth was so good in how the operation went because the depth off the bench, along with the Splash Brothers and Draymond, it allowed the Warriors to play free, high level basketball. And on top of that, it allowed them to have leads on teams at times where the Splash Brothers and them could sit down in the fourth quarter and let the bench players come in there and finish out the game because they got so much well-rounded, balanced scoring. It gave the Splash Brothers a lot of rest, a lot more rest than what people actually might have even accounted for. And little things like that go a long way. If Kawhi and PG could sit in a lot of fourth quarters, in games during the regular season, maybe not a lot, but at least some games, sit in the fourth quarters and watch the team go out there and win without them going out there dropping 30 points apiece every single night just to get a victory. And they could sit there and rest their knees and their ankles and their backs a little bit. And with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and the bench guys are out there and they're just, maintaining the lead and keeping things going, and give them a little bit of extra rest, that gives them more juice for the playoffs. And this is what I'm saying, and my point in saying that really is that when you have somebody off the bench like Norm Powell who can take pressure off Kawhi and PG, why get rid of him unless you're going to get somebody in return who's as good as him or better, and or who can replace him at that high level in which he can play when he's healthy. So, the Clippers got to be real careful with their trades because, remember, they still got to try to find a way to get a championship. It's not going to be easy, but either way, this is the report that's out right now. And as I always say, leave any comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And, hey, we'll talk about it.